Dealing with negative people after the age of 60 can be emotionally draining and mentally exhausting, especially when your primary goal during this phase of life is to find peace, happiness, and fulfillment. The golden years should ideally be a time of relaxation and self-reflection, a period when you prioritize your well-being after decades of working, raising families, and contributing to society. Unfortunately, not everyone around you might align with this positive mindset. Some individuals remain stuck in patterns of negativity, criticism, bitterness, or pessimism, and dealing with them effectively becomes crucial for preserving your mental health and emotional equilibrium. One of the most important first steps in dealing with negative people after 60 is understanding why they behave the way they do. Negativity can stem from a variety of sources: unresolved trauma, disappointment, chronic health problems, loneliness, or simply a lifetime of negative thinking. When you understand the root causes of someone's behavior, it becomes easier to develop empathy without absorbing their negativity. It's not about making excuses for them, but rather equipping yourself with the emotional tools to handle their presence without letting it disturb your peace. In your 60s and beyond, boundaries become more important than ever. You have likely spent much of your life putting others first, making sacrifices, and tolerating things for the sake of harmony or responsibility. Now is the time to assert your right to boundaries. Learn to say no to conversations and situations or even relationships that consistently drain your energy and add no value to your life. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you are being selfish or cruel. It means you are prioritizing your well-being. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your emotional space and give you control over what you allow into your life. Another essential strategy is learning the art of detachment. Detachment does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. Rather, it means creating a healthy emotional distance between yourself and the actions or emotions of others. When someone is being negative, you do not have to take their words or actions personally. This mental separation allows you to observe their behavior without internalizing it. It's like being in a storm with an umbrella. You may be in the storm, but you don't have to get wet. This inner discipline of detachment can save you from unnecessary stress and anxiety. After 60, it becomes a powerful form of emotional self-defense. Choosing your battles wisely is another key approach. Not every disagreement is worth engaging in, and not every negative comment needs a response. After years of experience, you know which discussions lead nowhere and which people thrive on argument or complaint. Instead of trying to correct them or change their outlook, sometimes the wisest decision is simply to walk away, conserve your energy, and focus on what matters most in your own life. This selectiveness is not avoidance, it is wisdom. Emotional maturity is one of the great gifts of aging, and it gives you the ability to see things with greater perspective and less reactivity. Practice self-awareness daily. Negative people can sometimes trigger emotions from our own past, such as guilt, anger, or inadequacy. But these reactions often have more to do with our personal history than with the person in front of us. By being aware of your own emotional triggers, you can stop yourself from reacting impulsively to negativity. For example, if someone criticizes you unfairly instead of defending yourself angrily, you might pause, breathe, and recognize that their criticism reflects their state of mind, not your worth. Regular reflection, meditation, journaling, or prayer can deepen this awareness and help you stay centered around your values. Surrounding yourself with positive, supportive individuals is also critical. You become like the company you keep, and after 60, it is especially important to curate your social circle intentionally. Seek relationships that uplift you, make you laugh, stimulate your mind, or nourish your soul. Whether it's family members, close friends, neighbors, or even online communities, focus your time and energy on people who inspire growth, kindness, and positivity. This doesn't mean you have to cut everyone off, but you can certainly choose where to invest the majority of your attention and affection. Keep in mind that it is not your job to fix everyone. Trying to help or rescue negative people, especially those who do not want to change, can become a never-ending cycle that drains your spirit. While compassion is important, so is recognizing your limits. You can offer kindness or support, but it is not your responsibility to carry someone else's emotional burdens. Let go of the savior complex and accept that everyone is responsible for their own happiness, just as you are for yours. One powerful method for staying grounded in the presence of negativity is practicing gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus away from what's wrong toward what's right. Even when dealing with difficult people, you can remain grateful for your health, your life experiences, your faith, your grandchildren, your hobbies, or any number of other blessings in your life. Gratitude builds emotional resilience and acts as a shield against the poison of negativity You might even keep a daily gratitude journal where you write 3 things you are thankful for each morning or night. Another aspect of handling negativity is improving your communication skills. Learn how to speak with clarity, calmness, and confidence. When you must address a negative person, be assertive but respectful. Use I statements like, I feel uncomfortable when you speak to me in that tone, or I prefer to focus on solutions rather than complaints. This kind of communication expresses your boundaries without attacking the other person and helps you take control of the situation without escalating tension. Humor is another underrated tool in diffusing negativity. After 60, a lighthearted approach can make a huge difference. If someone is complaining incessantly about minor issues, you can respond with gentle humor to change the mood or redirect the conversation. Of course, this depends on the person and context, but in many cases, humor can act as a bridge rather than a wall, keeping interactions light rather than heavy. Embracing hobbies and passions is another way to buffer yourself from negative energy. The more immersed you are in activities that bring you joy, the less affected you will be by the negativity of others. Whether it's painting, gardening, traveling, reading, or volunteering, these pursuits give you a strong sense of identity and purpose, which makes it easier to detach from toxic influences. Staying active physically also helps. Physical movement, whether through walking, yoga, swimming, or dancing, releases endorphins and reduces stress, making you more emotionally resilient. It's also important to remember that sometimes the most negative person you have to deal with might be yourself. Self-criticism, regret, or fear can manifest internally and affect your mood and perspective. Learning to treat yourself with the same compassion, patience, and encouragement that you would offer a dear friend is crucial. Challenge your inner critic, reframe negative thoughts, and nurture a more loving internal dialogue. You have come a long way, and you deserve to live your remaining years with joy, not inner conflict. If the negative person is a spouse, sibling, or a close family member, the situation becomes more complex. In such cases, long-term patterns may be difficult to change, but consistent and calm communication about how their behavior affects you can slowly shift the dynamics. You can also establish small emotional boundaries, like taking a walk when things get tense, or limiting the time spent in stressful conversations. If needed, consider couples or family counseling to get professional support. Remember that your mental peace is worth advocating for. One subtle but powerful technique is mindful breathing. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by someone's negativity, take a moment to breathe deeply and slowly. Inhale peace. Exhale tension. This simple act can help you remain calm, focused, and present. It reconnects you to your body and allows your brain to respond rather than react. With practice, this becomes a natural habit that supports your emotional balance everywhere you go. Spending time in nature is another healing antidote to negativity. Whether it's a walk in the park, a hike in the woods, or simply sitting by a window with a view of trees or sky, nature has a grounding effect. It reminds you of the bigger picture, helps you feel connected to something greater, and clears mental clutter. Make nature a regular part of your routine and let its calmness replace the chaos of negative interaction. With aging also comes the opportunity for spiritual growth. Many people after 60 find comfort and guidance in faith, prayer, meditation, or contemplation. Turning to your spiritual beliefs can give you strength in dealing with difficult people, helping you to see them through a lens of compassion while still protecting your peace. Ask yourself how your faith or philosophy encourages you to respond to negativity, and then align your actions with those higher values. Life after 60 is too precious to be wasted on drama, gossip, or toxic cycles. You have earned the right to choose peace, and you do not need to apologize for protecting it. There is strength in kindness and power in silence. There is wisdom in walking away and courage in letting go. You do not need to change anyone else. You only need to change your response. And in doing so, you change everything. As you continue your journey beyond the age of 60, dealing with negative people becomes less about confrontation and more about personal mastery. It is no longer about proving yourself, defending your opinions, or trying to win arguments. Instead, it becomes about choosing your peace over pointless engagement, your joy over drama, your wisdom over ego. This new phase of life offers you the opportunity to master the subtle art of disengaging from negativity while remaining fully engaged in your own growth and happiness. One of the most important realizations is that not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some relationships outlive their purpose, and that is okay. Whether it is a longtime friend who constantly drains you or a relative who refuses to change their toxic ways, you have permission to let go of people who consistently make you feel worse about yourself. Letting go does not mean hatred or resentment. It simply means choosing not to carry emotional weights that no longer serve your journey. After 60, your time, energy, and attention are too precious to waste on those who bring more sorrow than support. Letting go is not loss. It is liberation. Another powerful tool in dealing with negativity is developing inner affirmations that counteract external criticism. When someone is being negative towards you, whether through sarcasm, blame, or constant complaining, their energy can seep into your self-perception unless you have strong internal beliefs. Affirmations like "I am at peace with myself," "I do not absorb others' negativity," or "I deserve calm and joy" can act as mental shields that protect your inner world from external chaos. Repeating these phrases, especially after a difficult interaction, helps reframe your experience and strengthens your emotional boundaries. Over time, your mind begins to believe what you tell it, and positivity becomes your default rather than negativity. Practicing acceptance is also vital. Not acceptance of toxic behavior, but acceptance of reality. Some people will never change, as some situations will remain challenging, and some personalities will always clash with yours. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means choosing not to fight battles that only exhaust you. It means focusing on what you can control: your reaction, your space, your peace. Acceptance allows you to stop resisting what is and start building peace with what remains. It is one of the most profound acts of emotional maturity, and it brings an immense sense of freedom. Sometimes dealing with negative people is not about action, but about silence. Not every insult needs a reply. Not every accusation needs a defense. There is great power in silence. It disarms negativity and preserves your energy. Choosing silence can be a way of honoring your dignity, refusing to engage at a lower vibrational level. It tells the other person and yourself that your peace matters more than their noise. Silence is not weakness. It is often the strongest statement you can make, especially when spoken from a place of self-respect and clarity. Alongside silence, there is wisdom in forgiveness. Carrying resentment, especially after 60, only burdens your heart and mind. Forgiveness does not mean condoning bad behavior. It means releasing the emotional hold that person has on you when you forgive. You choose to free yourself from the toxic loop of pain and blame. It is a gift you give to yourself, not necessarily to the other person. Forgive for your health, your happiness, your freedom. Whether you say it aloud or in your heart, let the weight of past wrongs fall away so you can move forward with grace. Aging also brings a greater awareness of mortality, and this awareness can actually help you deal with negativity more effectively. When you recognize that life is short and unpredictable, you become more selective about where you place your attention. Suddenly, petty arguments seem pointless. Grudges feel like wasted time, and negative people lose their power over you because you realize your days are too few and too valuable to spend in distress. You start asking yourself, is this worth my peace? Is this person worth my energy? That awareness becomes your compass, guiding you toward a lighter, more meaningful life. Developing emotional independence is another key component. After 60, you must become your own source of happiness, validation, and peace. When you rely on others to behave a certain way in order for you to feel good, you place your power outside yourself. Emotional independence means recognizing that no matter how others act, you can still choose your response, your attitude, your vibration. It is about becoming the calm center in the midst of life's storms, anchoring yourself in self-love and inner stability. Negative people cannot destabilize you when you are firmly rooted in your own emotional strength. Practicing kindness as a discipline is also helpful. While it may seem counterintuitive, being kind in the face of negativity can be transformative, not for them necessarily, but for you. Kindness helps you rise above bitterness. It protects your heart from becoming hardened. It reminds you of who you are, regardless of how others behave. You can be kind without being a doormat, assertive without being aggressive, and firm without being cruel. Let your kindness be your strength, not your weakness. It is the ultimate sign of maturity and grace, especially when dealing with difficult people. Sometimes the negative person in your life is struggling with issues you cannot see. Depression, fear, chronic pain, or unresolved grief can manifest as irritability or bitterness. Understanding this does not mean tolerating abuse, but it can soften your perspective and make your responses more compassionate. Try to see beyond the behavior and, if possible, offer empathy, not solutions. Sometimes simply listening or acknowledging their struggle can ease the tension. Other times, the best help you can give is silent presence or gentle distance, depending on the situation. It is also vital to maintain structure and routines in your life. Structure provides a sense of stability and control, which can counteract the chaos that negativity often brings. Routines like morning walks, regular meal times, creative hobbies, or evening prayers act as emotional anchors. When others bring unpredictability into your life, your routines offer grounding. This regularity fosters resilience, helping you bounce back from negative encounters with greater ease and emotional balance. One of the more advanced ways to deal with negativity is through mental reframing. This means consciously choosing to see the situation differently. For example, if someone is constantly complaining, instead of thinking they're so annoying, you might reframe it as they must be carrying a lot of pain. Or if someone criticizes you unfairly, instead of internalizing it, you might think, this is about their perspective, not my truth. Reframing allows you to shift from being a victim of negativity to being an observer with perspective and control. It is a practice, and with time, it becomes a habit that strengthens your peace. Another effective approach is to limit the time and context in which you interact with negative individuals. For instance, if you have a friend who tends to be pessimistic, meet them in public settings where the conversation naturally remains light. If a family member is often argumentative, keep visits short and sweet and steer conversations away from contentious topics. Use technology to create distance when necessary, favoring texts over calls or limiting replies when they become too draining. Remember, you are not obligated to be available all the time. Your time and attention are resources, and it is your right to protect them. Cultivating joy is an active process. Make joy your default focus rather than reacting to negativity. Create a life so rich with meaning that negativity becomes a minor background noise rather than a central theme. Fill your days with laughter, music, art, nature, friendship, faith, and self-discovery. Joy is not just an emotion, it is a lifestyle choice, especially after 60 when you have earned the right to prioritize happiness. Above all, when joy becomes your center, negativity loses its grip completely. Finally, trust that it is never too late to evolve. Just because you have dealt with negative people a certain way in the past does not mean you have to continue doing so in the future. Growth is not limited by age. In fact, the wisdom you have accumulated by now gives you the perfect foundation for healthier patterns, more meaningful relationships, and a lighter emotional load. You can start today by choosing one strategy and practicing it with intention. Whether it's setting a boundary, responding with silence, or cultivating gratitude, each step moves you closer to a life of peace. At the end of the day, dealing with negative people after 60 is not about changing them. It is about mastering yourself. It is about realizing that you hold the power to protect your peace no matter who you interact with. You are not a prisoner to anyone's energy unless you give them the key. So reclaim your key, cherish your time, nurture your spirit, and move forward with the quiet confidence of someone who has finally learned how to live for themselves. You deserve nothing less than a life filled with serenity, purpose, and joy.